Right, Lisa?
I'm going to call the monthly meeting of the Dayton Stormwater Committee to order. It's Wednesday, January 15th. It's 1:02 p.m. We're in the upper level meeting room at the Old Town Hall, 1111 Somerset Avenue in Dayton. This is a public meeting being video and audio recorded for posting on YouTube. And we have a connection for Zoom. I don't see anybody yet. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Attendance, roll call, Dave Phillips,
Dave Phillips here.
Lisa,
Here.
Barbara,
Here.
Jim,
Here.
Mr. Ferry,
Chris.
Mr. Woods. Thank
Here
you.
I am.
Tom, if anybody comes into Zoom, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Project updates, 4A. Brook Street Solar, Grasshopper. Mr. Aguirre?
Hello, everybody. We did a walkthrough last week just prior to grid interconnection. And the purpose of that walkthrough was to first check the electrical integrity of all the components prior to allowing interconnection, and then the overall project site to see if there were any outstanding items. So there were some electrical problems, nothing major, fairly minor. Those have been taken care of with the electrical inspector. The site itself, these are the following items were found, and as I understand it, are currently being addressed or will be addressed in the next few days, or weeks rather, I'm sorry. Install the fire department Knox box according to fire department recommendations, so the fire department can access the site in emergency. I've required them to mow the vegetation under and around the array layout. Tom Ferry and I conversed about that extensively. It definitely needs to be mowed now, as long as weather permits. Remove wooden pallets that were left over from construction, as long with some debris that's strewn about the project. They were unaware that there was damaged perimeter fencing on the south side of the array that needs to be fixed. It doesn't allow anybody to enter the site, but it definitely needs to be repaired. Looks like storm damage. There was one damaged solar panel on the southeast corner of the array that needs to be replaced. And then, of course, replace and replant damaged or missing vegetation, buffer plantings. And we agreed that early March of 2025 would be the best time to do that, as long as the weather permits. So overall, it was in good shape, per se. The grid interconnection pursuant to the conditions on the permits was allowed. It's not connected yet, but they are moving towards grid interconnection with the utility company. I am confident these things will get repaired, and we still have the benefit of closing out the permits or not closing them out if they don't make good. The other thing is that we do have some bonds in place that would ensure if the contractor doesn't come through, that we have some monies available to get some of the things done, especially the plantings.
Does anybody on the committee have any questions, comments?
I have a question.
Okay,
The Knox box, Jim, wasn't that something you had asked for like a year ago?
It is, but without a functional project, there's really no need for public safety to get on the site.
Yeah.
And now that it's moving toward generation, it has to be done. But yes, you're right. And just as a follow-up, it's a little outside the scope here. There will be one more final inspection just prior to flipping the switch, and that will be to ensure that the fire alarm systems at the battery storage facilities are all functional. In the event there's an emergency, it calls public safety. So that'll be happening in the next couple of weeks.
So it sounds like we're moving forward. No,
It seems that way, yes.
it's a good thing.
Yeah. I also have the permanent 24-hour contract for the facility, which I will disseminate to all parties probably in the next week or so.
Excellent. You were on that site visit, Mr. Ferry. Do you have anything to say? You didn't shoot anything, right? Okay.
Yes, I walked through the, he went out front, we, vegetation, I was there for a non-process discussion. Very well, and we alluded to that it needs mowings, so yes, it does look sparse, but when you get right into it, it is taking over the grasses underneath and all that stuff.
Okay. When Mr. Aguirre said he was going to be doing that inspection, I had asked Mr. Ferry to go with him, sort of as a representative for the Stormwater Committee. The reason I didn't do it myself was Mr. Hafez has contacted the Board of Assessors and is asking for a pilot agreement, as in the one that got tabled for the second time at the last town meeting. So because I have to put on my assessor's hat for that, I felt that there was sufficient inspections that would be done and representing stormwater, the building commissioner, everything that needed to be looked at. So I didn't go. So thank you very much for doing that. Any questions from the audience? Mrs. Beausoleil.
So the batteries.
Mrs. Beausoleil, would you come up here, please?
Beausoleil, 1680 Pine Street.
Alan Beausoleil, 1689.
So are you saying, other than that, stuff that you just mentioned, the batteries are approved?
Batteries have been approved. They're not installed yet, but the batteries have been approved for some time. They won't be allowed to be installed until the fire alarm systems have been deemed functional. But yes, the answer to your question is they have been approved by the planning board.
Okay, were they supposed to be like blocked or?
There's one last item that could allow them to be less conspicuous. I would just have to review the permit with the planning board. There was some language discussed that I could choose a color that blended in with the surroundings that would make them less conspicuous. So that's something that Ahmed and I discussed offline, that they can't do that now, obviously, but that would be done probably in the future. But again, I have to brush up on what the actual language was that was in it.
Because I thought there was something to kind of camouflage it and.
Right. Right.
Which would be a.
Yeah, I don't know that I should be that person, but, you know, I guess a quick horizontal view of, view at the horizon could give me a color that I think would be less conspicuous. I certainly, since you're the one who's directly affected, can talk with you before that decision is made.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. One other thing, and you said there was a what is it called? A bond put up for the,
There are several bonds that have to be put up, yes.
so if it needs to be dismantled, if the batteries need to be dismantled.
There's a
and they.
decommissioning bond that's currently ongoing that has not been finalized yet, but yes.
Okay.
You want to mention that more?
One concern we have is on December 11th, we had a substantial rain. And we have never had our sump pump go on the way it went on. And that was since that pipe has come out. And checking, the area, it was absolutely bone dry. The trench going down Brook Street, I couldn't see anything from the street where water was. I could see a trickle coming out of the pipe, but I couldn't see where anything was coming out from the riprap, whatever you call it, going down, down to the east side where it's supposed to be going. So I just mentioned that. We only had the one rainstorm since then, but it's a concern of ours.
Because
Excuse me.
that pump ran for 3 days.
And that's so not like,
Yeah, that's
What?
unusual. You know,
And
we've
we've
had the
never-
sump pump for forever. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of rain prior to that one rainstorm. So we just, you know, thought we'd mention it, put it on record that we did have that substantial rain that day. And we did have a pump go off for 3 days. So
and.
I don't know where that
again,
water went because it didn't go down Brook Street. It didn't come out of that riprap. So we don't know where that water went.
And we're just afraid it's coming our way and not the direction it's supposed to be going in. So we just mentioned it. It's only one storm. We'll see what becomes of it, but we wanted to have it on record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4B, Blue Wave Solar, Tremont and Middle Streets. I know, have you been involved with this? And I know that Lisa has, checking on everything. I'll just put it at that.
Yes, I think the only thing we can report is the planning board has the plans and they've been sent to the peer review engineer as of January 7th, I believe. And we have not received a report. But we are moving in the right direction on that one as well.
Okay, do you have anything, Lisa?
Conservation Commission, provided the as-built to Weston and Sampson previously for review for request for certificate of compliance from conservation, and we did, so we did issue a certificate of compliance. In the future, just so everybody is aware, Carrie and I discussed coordinating the certificate of compliance, the as-built, receipt of as-built and the request together, so Weston and Sampson does one review instead of more than one, which
That's all inclusive.
which is what we're trying to do with the Lilia. Makes sense.
Okay, and does anybody have any questions or comments on the solar farm? This is the Cabral Racine Properties. If not, let's see, MACS, Arujos, as-built plans. Mr. Heck,
Yeah, the last correspondence was that Weston and Sampson, our peer review engineer, was looking for more data calculations on stormwater flow that coincide with the as-built that was submitted. As far as I know, that has not been provided yet by the developer.
Mrs. Caldone, do you have anything?
We're just waiting for the request. We received the as-built, but we need the actual form and the letter from their engineer, so.
Okay, and the emails that I was copied on in my last, I think it was my last correspondence to Jim Reardon, was that Stormwater is just waiting for the end report that's for the planning board and the conservation, and everything will be covered in that report, so we don't have anything to add. Does anybody have any questions on the solar farm behind Arujos? Comments? Okay, we're going to move on to 4D, 102 Sunny's Way. Mr. Ferry, do you have anything?
I don't have anything new. I understand they arrived. I believe Lisa would have more. You have more to add to that?
They did get approval from us to tie in the spring. We had discussed, me and the owner, and Dave was present, and we discussed restoring some of the backyard to let it reestablish. Because some of the work, is in the 25-foot no touch.
Okay, so is that part of the area that would go underwater periodically and then it's disturbed because they're putting in drainage? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the drainage system is operational?
I understand that the email, what I saw in the email, it's operating. Did the structure end up in that 25 no touch zone?
The structure itself, no, but previously it was disturbed by the development, so.
Oh, well, the previous owner.
Yeah, so there was cutting into the tree line that
So is it just landscaping, basically, you to try to bring it back?
Yeah, he might be willing to do a little bit more, maybe a rain garden or something, but yeah, just some planting.
Does anybody have questions on 102 Sunny's Way? Any comments? Okay,
Someone trying to get it.
I wonder if that was him.
Just Weston Sampson.
oh, okay.
Mr. Pearson.
Hi, James, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit late. I had some difficulty with the meeting link.
Oh, okay. Real quickly, Brook Street Solar, we had a report from Mr. Aguirre and Mr. Ferry, and Mr. Aguirre reviewed the items, small items that are open and what they need to do. Blue Wave Solar, Tremont and Middle Streets, the report was that the plans have been sent to Weston and Sampson for review. MACS Arujos, as-built plans, you requested information on, to have the calculations looked at and maybe recalculated. So do you have anything on Brook Street, Blue Wave Solar, or MACS that you would like to add?
I do not.
None, none, none?
Yeah,
Okay. Agenda item 4E, 0 Elm Street. Do we have anything to report on
Yeah.
0 Elm? You got something, Lisa?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I just wanted to share, I don't know that everybody is copied, I think they are, but we're getting regular SWIP inspection reports for this, and they're being completed by MBL. So I told Nancy that I would kind of present these. There was a couple of items that needed to be fixed out there, including the jute mesh, the erosion control blanket on the 2-to-1 slope on the north side, and then the erosion controls. So I'll pass these around, but they're doing the weekly inspections, and they seem to be keeping up with the site, doing a good job with that. We were out doing inspections and noticed sheet flow across the driveway. I don't know, Jim, did you notice that at all?
No.
So I don't.
Sheet flow, the driveway entrance?
Yeah, well, not at the actual entrance, but in a little bit, maybe like 15, 20 feet in. So east of the entrance, east of the curb cut, and it was after a rain event, and there was a pipe on the side, so I don't know if they plan on putting a pipe under there, but
Okay.
maybe.
Was it coming off the berm, the embankment,
Yeah, it was coming off that cleared area, you know what I mean?
which
And
is not vegetated?
right,
Okay.
so keep
Okay.
an eye on that, and, but otherwise, I think things, seem to be looking pretty good. I don't know when they plan on opening that facility, but.
Having trouble getting power from the power company.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna pass these around. If anyone has any questions about what's here, just get my attention. We'll go back to this item. The water that Lisa mentioned, does it end up in the drain that they put out near the road?
The east, I don't believe so. That should continue downhill, right?
Yeah, I may have taken a photo.
The natural flow?
There's an inflow just to the north of their driveway. But it doesn't sound like the water's making it there.
Yeah, I mean, we might want to look at it, that's what I'm saying. See if I have.
So once that area that was cleared has got stumps, when there's vegetation growing, is that gonna,
Yeah, that should slow it down.
That'll stabilize it, yes.
Yes,
so then it will just follow the natural?
right.
Yeah, we're not taking that.
Okay,
Necessary.
okay. So it'll take direction from Mother Nature.
Yeah, they didn't change grade there, they just.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anything else on 0 Elm Street? Anybody? Hunter's Hill, agenda item 4F. Do we have anything? I know that you've been corresponding
Yeah, so they do have a new resident site supervisor. Yeah, so basically, we've been getting the regular SWIPs inspections, and they've been being, instead of being conducted by the contractor, they're now being conducted by Long-Built from Brendan Kenny. And he's doing them at least once a week, every 7 calendar days. He's been sending photos, and some of them have just been the photos without descriptions. So I asked him, could you please give us a little more information, like the direction of where the photo was taken, facing which way, and a little hint on where they're taken in any case. But there's some photos in this last inspection report from January 10th, and they include the basin, and I thought you guys might want to see the basin. It's looking really good. It's been hydroseeded. They call it Miranda Pond. And yeah, that's what they call it. And then, but you guys can pass these photos around. And then the other thing was, you know, he's got spill kits out there, hydrologic fluid containers, oil drum containers. He's got the silt fence, and then he calls them the hay wattles, but we don't call them hay anymore. So I corrected him on that, unless they contain hay, which I don't think. I think they're the straw wattles. But yeah, they're keeping a good eye on things. That I have to do another inspection today for some erosion control.
These are really good pictures.
A limit of work. Here is the email that tells you what exactly you're looking at. So right here, you might want to pass this around with the
Okay.
description.
That would be a nice ice skating place if it's cold enough, because it's not very deep. Oh, yeah, that's a good picture. This is, when you see this, there's multiple.
Yeah.
Where's that, Hunters Hill?
Yes.
Where the driving range used to be, you used to be able to hit balls into the water there.
Is that when they were gonna have the golf course?
Yeah, they had a real driving range there for a few years.
I think the driving range was-
Maria,
was it-
Miranda Pond. If anyone has questions on that, just get my attention and we can go back to it.
And I asked questions about whether this development's gonna tie into the potential new development, and it's not. We confirmed with Long-Built.
Oh, that's at the Almeida property?
Yes,
Okay, and there's, by the way, there's a hearing tonight here. Is it at 6 o'clock? 7 o'clock tonight, about that property, 17 homes, proposed conservation subdivision. So if anyone's interested, 7 o'clock tonight, the planning board is holding a hearing.
Gonna be a long meeting tonight.
Is
Bring
this your
some
regular
snacks.
monthly?
Excuse me?
Is this your regular monthly? or
Yeah.
just Public hearing? Oh.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
The calendars, this is the continuing saga of our stormwater calendars. Heather, would you pass that package around? Just the way it is. So when you look at these, you're going to see the order that Heather and I have put together and what we agreed. The listing on the front is what's supposed to be for each month. There have been a number of situations at school. This week, the teacher's been home. I think she's got sick children. But in any case, I stopped Monday and Tuesday. This is not the week that the student that's assigned to this project is in graphic art. She's in academic classes. But yesterday, the head of the department, Mr. Cavallo, printed out what is there. It's still not in the format we wanted, so I took everything and put it in the format that we agreed on. I think the student is not happy with some of what we chose, but it's our calendar. So anyhow, when the teacher is back, I am going to give her that package. And the 3 pictures that are missing are on the thumb drive that I delivered. So they should be able to get those 3 pictures and put them in where the months are with the captions. Then I'll get one more draft and compare it against our list. And hopefully we'll get our calendars. Does anybody have any questions? Expenditure report, or this is 5B under old business. Mrs. Decor, could you just mention any invoices we've paid? It's been a while since we've done this, so.
Yes, so for the art festival, we ordered 200 boxes of crayons, and that came to $32.96. And we also had the coloring books that were quoted at 70 cents a piece, but we actually only paid just over 10 cents a piece for 200 of them. It came to $20.85. And we also ordered 300 more boxes of crayons for $35.98.
And we're gonna, when we get our calendar project done, we're gonna order 300 more calendars, because at that price, we can give them out to the little kids for future events. But it's certainly very economical to have those done. The brochures invoice, how much was that?
So we received 2 invoices. I'm gonna show it to you.
What was the one that, Tom, that I mentioned to you? They had sent an email to me telling me that we hadn't paid for brochures, which I thought we had covered. And that's why I passed that on to Tom. So what they
Both
said,
the same invoice. One has the tax and one doesn't. And it was paid.
all right, the invoice that should have been paid, because I did get in touch with them and tell them we were tax exempt. So which one got paid?
The minus mass tax.
Oh, that's the 2055. That's correct. This is an old one, and the this has got to be coloring books. I'm talking about the actual, the brochures. I think we've already paid for the brochures. We printed, initially we printed 3,000, pretty much used them all up. We revised it and ordered, I think 1,500, because we said we don't need another. But I think those are covered. So this one is the correct one, and this is coloring books, not,
Yes.
okay, so I think we're all set there.
Okay.
It's just that they had sent an invoice to me, and it looked like the brochures, and when I looked at it, I thought, we already did that.
I haven't seen a brochure. One.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it in the last fiscal year?
I think so.
Oh, well, all I know is she stopped sending me the invoice, and I'm thinking they must have reconciled it. Because I was sure we paid for those.
Everything's up to date that we were sent.
Good, that's all we need to know. 5C Stonegate Landing, does anyone have information on this? I caught part of a ZBA meeting, and Mr. Fedorov was talking about moving ahead with a couple of lots or houses. Does anyone know anything about this? Is he planning to,
This guy right there is on the ZBA.
is he moving ahead with the project, or what?
I don't believe so. There's a 53G account issue right now.
Oh, well, what else?
So, and Nancy, we've been dealing with this since I got on.
Oh,
the
yes,
ZBA.
yes.
I'll tell you, his slogan of better off with Fedorov is not,
Is that the slogan?
that's his slogan. And I am not kidding. Not kidding you. And I just, with no bond in place, he's playing us like we're
Well, he was talking,
just playing us.
in the
I
part
really feel that way.
the part I saw, he was talking about his own engineers. And I've been assured, no, the engineering work that he's talking about will not be what the town needs. Weston and Sampson will do whatever the town needs, if and when the time comes. The other concern was, he was talking about having Mr. Ferry oversee the roads or something like that, which isn't going to happen. Obviously, Mr. Ferry will have something to say about what's going on, but he's not going to be overseeing or whatever, advising. The one thing that Mr. Federoff has said a number of times is it's a 40B, we don't have to worry about stormwater. Doesn't have to worry about local stormwater regs, but he has to meet the DEP handbook. The DEP handbook is based on the EPA regs. And yes, there will be inspections if in fact they're going to move ahead, just like we had with Strawberry Fields. Mr. Pilling inspected that, different people, I know Mr. Ferry was there, different, but it doesn't mean because you don't enforce the local bylaw or regs, that it's free for all. You don't have to do anything. That's not the case, but well, we'll just wait
I
and
just
see.
feel that and not to interrupt you, Nancy,
No,
but
that's
I just
okay, go
feel
ahead.
he's gotta come to the plate. He has all these great plans, but there's no action. There's nothing. He just stumbles.
Well, I
And he
think
comes
that,
back to the next meeting and it's yeah, I'm gonna do this, and he hasn't really done much of anything.
well, an unfunded 53G account is the first major step, I would think. Mr. Pearson, has Weston and Sampson been contacted about Stonegate Landing and all?
No, we haven't.
Excuse me?
I said, no, we have not.
Oh, okay, fine. Jen? Go ahead. Did you have anything?
I had nothing further, no.
Okay, agenda item 6A, Weston and Sampson, the ARPA funded project. So the engineer involved is Jerry Schwartz. They've done, Mr. Ferry, you want to give us a little update on what they've done so far out in the field?
Yes, first he met in my office, we went through the list of streets, which they added streets to before they came to town, and I took 14 off. And I gave him a little background on the difference of the mapping that we already did that affected water bodies. And the western part of town is mostly country drainage. And that's why not every street was on the list, and also not every street was accepted that they put on the list. So we get that straightened out. They've been out in the field for it's roughly a week. Investigating the system and verifying my mapping and the outfall. They're planning on coming to our next meeting, is that correct?
I talked to the town administrator about this. His recommendation was, rather than just come to a stormwater meeting, ask her to make a presentation, an outline, a brief outline of what it is she's doing under the ARPA grant. So it's going to be at a Board of Selectmen's meeting. I'm just looking to see if I got my calendar with me. I believe it's a February meeting. And I think it's the second one in February, but I'll get the information out to you. The feeling was, and the email with all the street listings, is that the correct list after you revised it?
Yes. And
Okay.
they're still gonna go, the streets are totally country drainage, they're still gonna at least drive them.
Okay. So the email that I sent out that lists all those streets that I forwarded just via information, I also forwarded those, I think I said on the email, to police and fire, simply because if residents see people out there, especially if they don't have the Weston and Sampson vehicle, if they're concerned about what are these people doing and who are they and what are, so that if communication gets any calls, they'll know what is going on and they can assure the residents that these people are out there working on something for the town. So anyhow, Jerice is going to be available. It's scheduled for the second Board of Selectmen meeting in February. And she's going to be, after the preliminaries to open the meeting, she's going to be the first presentation. And she will talk about what has been, what the plan is under the ARPA grant, what has been done. We have processed an invoice. Do you have that information, Heather? The payment we made to for Weston and Sampson for the preliminary work?
Just over 1,800.
Okay, so that's the first invoice for the work that's been completed. So I'll have more information for you so you'll understand what is being done. She's gonna be working on records. They're doing field work now because they have to do dry weather testing and checking outfalls and wet weather. So this is what they're working on now. They've asked me for updates on the stormwater management plan and the illicit discharge plan. So I've got to get in touch with the usual town officials because I need just the updated letters that state how they maintain their vehicles, you know, they're maintained at the highway department, and those kind of things. It's been a few years since I've requested that, so I'll get updated ones just so we have that. A listing of all town property, and I will get that from Karen, because we get it from the insurance company, which lists our vehicles and structures. And then I'm gonna have to ask the, I don't know what they call themselves, the town-owned land committee, for a listing of, or I'll get it from the tax collector, of the properties we own that don't have structures, just so that all of that is part of the record. So when I give it to her, she won't have to do that.
Who needs all this information?
Oh, this is for those two books, the Stormwater Management Program and the IDDE illicit discharge. That's part of the records we have to have under the EPA regs. We have not completed them all because number one, I don't have the time to do it all. I have done the things I just mentioned to keep those updated. But all of this, and they're in, I don't know, 2 notebooks that are this thick, they're huge. All of that is in there as part of what we're supposed to do. They are not complete, but as things were done, I notified EPA, we haven't done all this. We don't have complete books. We're doing it sporadically as we can. But what this project is also going to do is complete that. They're gonna look at our bylaw and regs, because we've talked about changing the bylaw, changing the 35,000 square feet and all of that. That's all gonna be part of it too, but right now they're doing work out in the field. But yeah, it's all part of what EPA requires. So thank goodness we have a grant.
Their list, what they're working on is quite involved, and it's still feeling out what's required, and also what's going to be required with the new bid coming out.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all right out of the gate, but we can do it in stages and have a plan spelled out. But back to that selectmen's meeting, I would chalk that up for an educational experience.
Yeah, that's what she said also. Yes, public, and it's absolutely public information. Certainly, the new permit that the EPA has put together is out there for public comment until the end of February, I believe. One of the things I immediately saw, I thought this doesn't make any sense, was the amount of basin cleaning or repetitive, was it basin cleaning and street sweeping more than once a year, as opposed to you do them once a year, and if you have basins that get a lot of stuff, well, you clean that one more often.
That's been practice already.
Yeah, but this requirement that's proposed, I thought that's ridiculous, you know. And as I said, I have kept Newton Tedder and
Nancy, I got the date. meeting,
26th.
26th.
I was gonna say that February 26th is the selectmen's meeting that has that. But I've kept Newton Tedder appraised as we've moved through this, how we aren't taking those two books and doing this one and this one and this one. I'm doing as much as I can with the time I have. And some of it was done when Roz and Todd were here, but they were never completed because it's a huge job. And I've been factual and honest in the reports about, we got this much done, but we haven't finished the whole thing. And I think because we've continued to make progress in all areas, it hasn't been a problem. By the way, he is no longer the senior permit writer. Michelle Vuto, who worked with him, and another person, they have taken over his job, and Newt Tedder now is in enforcement. So, as I said, he knows that we got the grant, he knows we're working on it, so hopefully we will not be on send the letter out list, because he said we were buying time, and this project is ongoing, so it's not like we're ignoring, so. But we'll keep you advised on that and remind you about the meeting on the 26th, when we have our February meeting. Approval of minutes for October 16th and November 20th. I had sent those out. Is there a motion to approve these?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody? Oh, okay. So, Heather, Mr. Ferry, did you vote?
Did.
You did? You heard him? Okay, keep an eye on him, Woody. Okay. Heather, when you record this, if you look at the minutes, whenever it's a unanimous vote, it just says the wording voted unanimously on a roll call vote. You don't have to list all the people. When the vote, if there is a no or an abstention, then it says voted, and then underneath you list in favor and you list the names. In favor, opposed, none, and abstention, and you list the name, okay? But when it's a straight roll call with a unanimous vote, you don't have to list all the names. I know you did that all else, but I'm saving you some time, all right? Agenda item 8, are there any unanticipated items? No? Mr. Pearson, do you have anything that you want to mention about anything? Anything you're working on?
No, I don't have anything to mention at this point in time. Mainly, if there are any questions you had about understanding, I'm here to answer those.
Okay, all right. Any public input? No public. Correspondence, I don't believe we've had any. The next meeting is Wednesday, February the 19th, here at 1. And if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous vote, and it's is it 1:45? Is that what that says?
Wow.
Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody.
Got my easy button.
Nice to see everybody in this new year.